Hey, it's Justin, and you're watching Behind the Scenes at Just in Time Automotive. Today we've got a 2017 Subaru WRX STI. This is the V8 chassis, and unfortunately the client's concern is the clutch is slipping. Of course, we have confirmed that with our diagnostics. The clutch is indeed slipping, and he's running about 400 horsepower. So we've decided to go with our friends over at Southbend Clutch. They make a phenomenal clutch. They've been doing it for years and years and years. Before you install your Southbend clutch, read the instructions, read the warranty, read the warnings, read all of the stuff. This literature comes in the kit. It's really important that you have all this so that you have your proper torque specs and everything. You know, you want to have all your ducks in a row before you just go in there willy-nilly. Every single nut and bolt has a critical torque spec, and you always want to follow that just to make sure that you're going to get the longevity out of your new components. This is not an inexpensive clutch. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is rather expensive, so you want to make sure that you're just doing this one time and being done with it and having a good outcome. Now, this is a stage 2 clutch. It comes with everything that you need except for a couple things that we're going to talk about in a second, but this is your release bearing. This is what has a lot of its constant contact is with the pressure plate, and this is a pull style, so as you engage your clutch, this is actually going to pull these fingers out. Also going to couple the clutch and pressure plate with is to our OEM flywheel. There are options for different flywheels out there as well. We prefer the OEM. Simply because it has a little more mass. It's going to be a comfortable feel. You're not going to get as much chattering and things like that, but also so you just know that you're getting a product that's made of high quality. Now keep in mind, you see that I've got gloves on. Anytime you're handling a clutch disc, you want to be very careful just not to get any contamination on the actual friction material and the mating surfaces. We'll brake clean the flywheel before we install it, but you try not to put any chemicals on the mating surface of this. It's critical for break-in. You see that this is an Excetti clutch disc. They've been doing that for as long as I know. And then they make their own pressure plate. And this guy is pretty badass. Same thing. You try not to get any chemicals or anything on the face of this. We'll brake clean this off as well, or acetone, and that way you don't have any other chemicals in there. Wipe it down. You can see it's got a little bit of stuff on there, but that'll wipe right off. They give you a new pilot bearing in case you're having your flywheel turned. We never recommend turning a flywheel. We always recommend just going with a brand new setup. They're also going to give you an alignment tool. This is critical to make sure that you're getting all of your components lined up with the center of your flywheel. So essentially, you see the TM side on this, that's transmission side. So this is going to be the back of your engine. Your flywheel, I'm sorry, your clutch disc is going to go like that. And then your pressure plate is going to go on top of that. One thing that you can see here, hopefully you can see it, there's a little yellow dot on the flywheel. Based off of Subaru specifications, there's going to be an indicator on this pressure plate, which is actually right here, and in their procedure it tells you that this dot is an alignment mark that needs to be at least 120 degrees clockwise from this yellow paint mark. So essentially, as long as, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little mark right there, and that's where somebody's peened that pressure plate to let you know that that's its valence point. Sometimes it's a paint mark, sometimes it's that, but usually it's going to be a little indentation like that. And I believe that you can actually line this up in a couple different orientations. So alright, so now we've got our yellow mark, and we have our peened mark right there. We are almost 180 degrees out, so that's where I'm going to be happy with that. And now we can talk about our hardware. Always, always, always replace the flywheel bolts. and also the pressure plate bolts. These are torque to yield bolts, so we always go in there and replace these with OEM bolts. You now have everything aligned to go into the bolt up to the back side of the engine so that everything is perfect, and that way when you put your transmission back in, the splines of the input shaft go right in. You don't have to worry about any damage. Pretty cool.